What is up? That's what's up. Happy New Year, everybody. I decided from my last Q&A, I would do it live. Like Bill O'Reilly once said years ago, we're doing it live. F it, we're doing it live. So tonight's just going to be kind of a fun, informal Q&A live stream. So welcome, everybody. If you're not out getting drunk for New Year's, you can spend a little bit of time here with me. So I'm not going out for New Year's, by the way. I'm not doing anything. I'm staying right here with my dogs. So my dogs are right. In fact, Bailey's right down there. If you look back there, there's Bolt sleeping in my spot, and then my Chihuahua sleeps on her blankets right there. So that's my New Year's. I'm not even going to stay up till midnight. But Happy New Year's to everybody who is and who's already celebrated New Year's. But I'm going to be spending a lot of my time right here in this chat. So you have to excuse me if I'm kind of burying that, because I want it to be a legit Q&A. So I'm going to be answering questions. And Car Wash channel, thank you. You got the Ninja Thirsty. I still like that product. Happy New Year, everybody. Just welcome on in here. I'm not going to answer any questions just yet, but no, I'm not quitting the channel. I'm not quitting the channel. I decided that I'm not going to be doing my Q&As on this channel anymore, because I have my Discord. If you actually have a question for me, you can go on my Discord and ask me a question. I'm either in there right away or within a few hours. So I'm not going to be stopping answering questions. And also, I'm going to be vlogging starting on Freakin 2. I'm going to start my first vlog tomorrow. So on January 2nd is my first vlog on Freakin 2. And I will be able to answer questions there as well. So it's not really, I'm not quitting the channel, but I just feel like these question and answers need to just retire from Freakin Reviews proper. So I see quite a few people in here. Oh, JC Klein wants to know, that's her dog. That's JC's dog right there. That's Bolt in my spot. So JC is here from Virginia. Gary should be here. Gary, are you in here? If you're in here, Gary, let me know, because Gary is my moderator for the night. And some people think me and Gary are related. In fact, that's the reason that we were introduced with each other, because Gary and I look alike. So he also helped me pick out this camera. So if you don't like the camera, blame Gary. Gary from Unbox Analysis. And if you do like the camera, then go give Gary a like on his most recent video, because Gary is also a reviewer, and that's the reason we know each other, because we're both reviewers, and because we kind of look alike too. Am I still going to be doing reviews? I'm absolutely still doing reviews. In 2026, though, I'm going to probably be doing only one review a week, and I think that's the reason, because when I'm trying to squeeze 2 videos a week, sometimes it's a bit much. So I'm going to try to take my time and do 1 good video a week rather than 2 somewhat rushed videos. So I'm going to be doing, and that'll also free up some time for this business I'm getting involved with, and also for more vlogging on Freakin 2, which I really enjoy doing. Unbox Analysis Official. Okay, you're welcome for the kind words, and you can pay me for that a little bit later, by the way. No champagne for me tonight, by the way. I'm going to be drinking. I'm having some digestive issues lately, and that's one of the reasons I've been doing that many food reviews. So I'm just drinking water tonight. That's it. And maybe some iced tea. That's about. I can't even have carbonation. So unfortunately, I'm laying low as far as that goes. I used to do New Year's. The last time I did New Year's down the strip, probably 4 or 5 times. The last time I went, the first few times, it's amazing. You're like, wow, all the people, the bustling, the lights and everything, it's crazy. After a few times, you're like, it's kind of cold. I'm kind of squished. I got beer spilled on my shoes. The last time I went there, it was 26 degrees when it hit midnight, which is cold for Vegas. And I was freezing the whole time. And then I said, I'm going to go get some hot chocolate. Completely burnt my mouth. And then I went up to my overpriced bare bones room at the Treasure Island, and I thought to myself, I could just be at home with my dogs on the couch, relaxing, not with this burnt mouth, beer smelling shoes. But anyways, it's it's fun down there, but after a few times, it gets old after a while. Like how many times could you go to Disneyland in a row? Like not that many. Eventually, it gets old. But I'm gonna look in these in the comments here for some questions here. JC wants me to show Bolt's teeth. Bolt's sleeping. He's not showing his teeth right now. My stomach. Why is my stomach messed up? I think I'd rather not talk about that, but it's an issue that I've been dealing with for a while. Am I going to do more microwave gadgets like vegetable steamer? I hadn't thought about that. Am I doing more microwave gadgets? If you have any ideas for gadgets for me to review, a good place to message me is on Discord, because I'm in there all day long. Hopefully my Discord fam is in here. Where's my Discord fam? You guys in here? Hopefully. Because I am on Discord all day long. So it's like, they're like, I communicate with people on Discord more than my friends. So if you ever want to hang out and talk, hang out. In fact, I'll give you a link. I'll give you a link in here to Discord right now. In the chat. Where is it? There it is. That should work. You're not seeing anything. Why is my property surrounded by cinder blocks instead of a fence? That is a good question. If you've ever been out to the West Coast, that's a pretty common way people. I mean, I didn't build it. I didn't design this house. But that's how they all are out here. The cinder block walls. You don't want to see your neighbors. You don't want to know them. You're going to be completely anonymous from your neighbors. But no, that's just how it is here. And when I lived in California, in Huntington Beach and Riverside, well, actually I had a fence in Riverside, but in Huntington Beach I had a cinder block wall. That's how it is out here. Just like people ask why the air conditioner's on the roof instead of on the ground. They're on the roof out here. Have I been to South America? I have. The closest I've been to South America, the answer is no, but I was 90 miles from Venezuela when I was which was one of those Caribbean islands. I can't remember which one that was closest to Venezuela, but I was near South America, but not quite that far. But the person in Arizona says, yeah, they got the cinder block fence too. That's just how they build them out here. They build houses differently, and for some reason that's part of the culture out here. Some people paint like they have scenes on their cinder block walls, but most people don't. That's just what you're used to. If I peek my head over my cinder block wall, I can see the strip. Unfortunately, my neighbor grew a big, giant bush, so now I can't see it as well. This person says, the first time I'm catching you live. Well, this is the first time in 3 years. The last time I went live was in 2022. And before that was in 2019. So this is my second time going live this decade. So it's not something I do very often. Now, Unbox Analysis Gary, he's trying to convince me to do it more often. So maybe Gary can convince me to do it more often, but I don't know, man. It's like the problem is I do it so infrequently that the software ends up being confusing to me because I haven't used it in 3 years. It's different from the last time I installed it. So yeah, Gary says he's been trying. Maybe I will. Maybe I may be freaking too, because I don't feel as, I can screw things up over there and not worry about it. That's like my sandbox. Freaking 2 is my sandbox. The person asked how my purple mattress is holding up. That's it right there. It's the same one that I reviewed. See, that's what I shouldn't spin around so fast like that. That's the one I reviewed years ago, and still it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. In fact, Bolt loves it. Look at Bolt back there. See Bolt? Bolt, see? Bolt loves purple mattress. All dogs love the purple mattress. But my New Year's plans are to do this and then lay around my dogs for a couple hours and then go to sleep. That's all I plan on doing. And tomorrow morning I'm gonna wake up at the crack of dawn and start vlogging on Freakin' 2. That's my shirt for it. This shameless promotion. I haven't met anybody. You know, I have met one person. I'm not gonna name names, but I did meet one person that didn't like the purple mattress, and I was kind of surprised because everybody else that I know that has had the purple mattress loved it. But I had one person that said, it wasn't for me. But you know, they have different types, so maybe they just got the wrong one. I don't know. Am I going to be... Oh, this person asked a good question. It's very relevant. This person wants to know if I'm going to see other shows at the Sphere. Yes, I have tickets to 2 of them in the next 2 months. I'm going to see the Wizard of Oz in a couple weeks. That's going to be cool. And then I'm going to see me and Brand. Brand's coming to town from Maine. Me and my boy, we're going to go see Backstreet Boys. That's right. If you've seen video of that show, you'll know why anybody would want to see it. That Backstreet Boys show looks incredible. So I've got 2 Sphere shows coming up pretty soon. I'll vlog those on Freakin' 2, and I'll let you see what's going on. You know what's weird about the Sphere video? I know it was kind of an older video. That was an older video from February I just posted, but I haven't seen that many people post outside of the actual auditorium. Most people don't post inside the lobby or the elevators or anything. So I felt like people would be interested in what the rest of the place looks like. Yeah, see, Unbox Analysis Gary saying that it's going to be cool to see Backstreet Boys. That show looks cool. So Brandon's here. Brandon is in here. I see him. He said he can't wait. What are my thoughts on the Bartesian? You know, I used the Bartesian for a while, but and I don't drink that much. Anytime I want to I went through all of my pods, and I enjoyed them, and I kind of went through a second round of them, and I drank all those, but then eventually I stopped using it because I can't drink that much. Oh, Chad Oliver's here. Chad Oliver 5160 is my handsome younger cousin. He says he needs to plan a trip out here. Chad, get out here. But Chad is my cousin. And he was in my Beardaments video with me a while back. Was I talking about something else? I got distracted. See, Chad, you distracted me. You got to stop doing that. Everybody say hi to Chad. Chad's in the house. Chad's got the beard, man. His is like, how long is your beard now, Chad? It's like things halfway down your waist. Currently, right now, it is 50 degrees in Las Vegas and light rain. So I can imagine people that came out here for the New Year's celebration, they're probably bummed out because they're getting rained on. Well, that doesn't sound too fun. But I guess the fireworks show is still going to go even though it's raining. But the Bartesian was hilarious. It's kind of a cool idea, really. You know, the one I've been using lately is the BTK 918. Have you reviewed any dog training products? What do you think about the sonic bark suppression? I have to use. It's kind of a touchy subject, you know. Like I used to watch Cesar Millan a lot. You go in the comments, people hate on him, so you have to be kind of careful. But I think if you mean like one of the sonic zappers for the dogs that kind of like the train, I use one of those for Bolt because Bolt doesn't listen to me, but he'll listen to that. It just emits something that blocks his train of thought, I guess. But I do like those. My beard is not more blonde; it's more gray. I'm getting old. That's why I'm turning 58 years old this year. So I'm getting old. That's how it's going. So in the Netherlands they had 2 hours of fireworks. 2 hours. I don't think I've ever seen a fireworks show more than 15 minutes. I mean that's a lot of fireworks. Oh, someone wants to know where Bailey is. Bailey's sleeping right there. She's been kind of sick lately. She hasn't felt too well. So she first I took her into the vet to get her because she has arthritis in her legs, which is she's turning 11 next month. So you know it's kind of common. But so after I took her to the vet, she must have picked up something. So she's been sick since she got back from the vet. So I've been trying to get her back to health. So I hate seeing her like that, but she's better now. But she was really kind of laid out for a while, and I feel bad for her. And then of course she's been coughing, which it's weird to see a dog coughing. I haven't seen much of that, but I think she's on kind of on the mend, but she has been coughing a little bit, which I don't like. See what else we got. What's my opinion of Rush? I think someone asked me what my opinion of the Canadian power trio progressive rock gods Rush are. Okay, well, here's my opinion of Rush. I think that there's an argument to be made that they're the greatest band of all time. I think that, to me, the most influential band of all time is the Beatles. But Rush put out albums for, 40, almost 50, 40 years? Consistently, high quality. I mean, Rush is one of the greatest bands of all time. Geddy Lee is on my Mount Rushmore of bass players. So that's what I think about Rush. In fact, last year, this year, I think it was last year, I listened to their entire discography, listened to Geddy's autobiography on audiobook, and I listened to Geddy's solo album. So, big fan of Rush. Someone said, not the Sphere, but if you ever get a chance to see a Fever Candlelight concert. I saw a Coldplay concert at a church in Toronto. A Fever Candlelight concert. I can't say I know what that is. It sounds pretty cool, though. Mr. JW71, you have not missed much. I've only been at it for like 15 minutes, so you didn't miss anything. Oh, by the way, I did see Rush. I saw Rush on the Snakes and Arrows tour in 2007. That's when Geddy, instead of an amplifier, he had a refrigerator, not a refrigerator, like an oven of rotisserie chickens behind him instead of an amplifier. Very cool. I did not see the new Avatar movie. I haven't seen a movie in a while. But I like the last one, but it's so long, man. It's like sometimes I'm like, why do they make these movies so long anymore, man? When I was a kid, they were like an hour and 15, an hour 30 minutes. Now it's like you can't get out of there, and with adding commercials, 2.5 hours. Get out of here. Someone said Vons or Smiths. Vons are people that don't know. Vons and Smiths are grocery stores in this part of the country, and there's a Vons right down the street from me, so I go there more often. And Smith's is not in a very good area, so I would say definitely Vons. Avatar was 3 hours and 20 minutes. Like, come on, man! And then you're gonna add 30 minutes of commercials. So it's like you're in there 4 hours. I think that was Oppenheimer. You want to hear about Oppenheimer? When I saw Oppenheimer, something I ate that day disagreed with me. Imagine sitting in a 3.5 hour movie when your stomach's gurgling and not in a good way. That was bad. Oh, Sarah's in here. Sarah is the person that watched every single one of my videos last year, and she's in the Discord almost nonstop. So we were actually talking about Avatar movie in Discord recently. This person says, it's going to be 10 years since my first video on the channel. Congrats on almost 10 years. Man, that's hard to... I look at the first videos, I look like a baby face. I was 48. I look like a kid. How would I look so young at 48? But some of those early videos, I'm thinking I would never do it that way again. I would be a lot different if I had to do those videos over again. Jack left town 427. That's there has to be a story behind that username. It says, you and your wife love my channel. I appreciate that. Please keep the amazing content. I appreciate it. And the wife wants to know if the Sphere is just a big movie theater. Yeah, not really. I mean, there's a giant lobby. They have some little displays in there, and they sell a lot of merch. There's like a food court. So it's kind of like a movie theater on steroids. And it's not cheap, but they have... You got to do it once. If you come here, you got to do it once. Even do the cheapo postcard from Earth, the one that I did my video on. I would recommend it. It was very cool. All right, so this person said they'd seen a 4-hour movie and didn't know how long it was. 4 hours, that's a long movie. I've watched James since Bailey was a puppy. Bailey was, how old was she? She must have been, she was born in 2015. She was less than 2 years old when I did my first video. Now turns 11 next month. to reiterate to those who arrived since it started, this is my last Q&A because I'll be doing more, because I feel like it's not really, I've done enough of them. I feel like I've answered as many questions as I can. But I'll be answering questions on Discord, and I'll be answering questions in my vlogs on Freakin' too, moving forward. So I don't feel like I need to continue to post them on this channel. I want to stick to product reviews on Freakin' Reviews, and I'm going to be doing one video a week. That's the plan in 2026, hopefully. What is freaking Brandon doing for New Year's? Well, Brandon is in the chat. I think he is. If he is in the chat, Brandon, speak up. I think he's in Maine freezing right now, because last time I saw what the weather was in Maine, it was single digits for the high, I think. It looks freezing up there. Every channel has to evolve. Absolutely it does. Will I wear a wig? No, I will not wear. I wouldn't even grow my hair back. I actually, a couple years ago, I had a plastic surgeon say that he would give me a hair transplant for free. And I said, no, I don't want my hair back. First of all, it looks weird. I did like an AI image of myself with hair. It looked terrible. And second of all, my hair already abandoned me. Why would I take it back? You had your chance. Brandon and I are going to try to do another Shark Tank video when he's out here. I think we have another season kind of built up and ready to go. So I think that's hopefully... Oh, here comes Brandon. He says he's chilling inside, struggling to make it to midnight. James keeps telling me I should keep my head shaved too. That's Gary. See, Gary is in the chat. He just grew his hair back, and I'm telling you, it looks better bald. I'm a little bit biased though, so I probably am not the best person to say anything about that. Someone else says they're struggling with the weather too. It's most people, like, I hear about New Year's Eve celebrations getting canceled, parties getting canceled, people getting snowed in. I can't imagine. I mean, it's not terribly cold here. It's 50, which is, it's not cold or warm really, but it's been a lot colder in the past. But at least you can still do stuff outside here. I can't imagine who's gonna go outside and watch fireworks when it's like -5. I mean, some people might, but I can't imagine that. It's got to be freezing at Times Square right now. Who mustached James a question? Mustache? There must be a joke in there, and I went right over my head. Someone said, is it Vegas really worth visiting anymore? That's, man, I love living here, but the Strip is a completely different place. The tourists they're getting, what's the word? I don't know what the word for it is. I'm trying to be nice, but man, the tourists, they feel ripped off. I have people visit here and they leave. They feel like they got their pocket picked. Like who wants to go and spend? I mean, you hear the nightmares of people spend like $12 for a bottle of water. Like you go to your room, there's no bottled water in there that you can't pay for. You have to pay for it. It's like I saw the last hotel I stayed in, it was $18 for a bottle of water in the hotel. Get out of here, man. Who wants to pay that? It's like, old Vegas used to be where they would, when the mob ran it, they knew how to treat customers. Now Gary disagrees with me. Gary is saying that he thinks it's not too bad, but I think Gary is a little bit, he doesn't really stay on the Strip every time. He's a little more practical. But I think that the old days when I first moved here, all the casinos had buffets. The buffets were a lot of times under $10. You could get a steak dinner for like $4.99. Like those days are gone, man. And so you have to be really careful how you spend your money, or it'll go quick. The best experiences are off Strip in many cases. Someone says it's 48 in Florida. Isn't that kind of cold for Florida? I mean, I was born in Florida. That's my birthplace. I remember this is going way off topic here, but I remember one time, it did snow flurry when I was a kid in Jacksonville, but somewhere in my closet, I have them hidden so nobody can ever find them. But it was a rainy day in Florida. I was about 4 or 5 years old, and there's all these pictures of me running around in the rain in nothing but my tighty-whitey underwear. I'm like, Mom, how did you let me go outside like that? I'm running around the neighborhood in just my underwear, and they're wet. You can see through them. Like, come on, man. What was I thinking? Anyways, I digress already. I'm digressing here. Where's my favorite place to mini golf? You know what? I actually had a lot of fun at the Kiss mini golf. It's not the best mini golf I've ever played, but the overall experience was kind of fun. I really enjoyed that quite a bit. So, you know, and that was it was relatively inexpensive too. Me and Brandon went there on Father's Day a couple years ago. What do my parents do for a living? My dad worked on computers. He worked on like mainframe computers back in the 60s and 70s. You know, then my mom did various banking related things like that as well. So they ended up starting a magazine in the early 90s, and then they retired. So I think them doing a magazine inadvertently made me start blogging, which made me end up here. So I think that their magazine kind of helped me to where I'm at right now. Scott Bagley says, "How are you?" I'm good, thank you. I'm hoping this year is better than last year for everybody. You know, like it can't work out that way though, unfortunately, right? I mean, you want everybody to have a better year than the last, but it ain't going to be that way for everybody. You just have to hope that, you know, on average it is. Last year was a year. You know, it was a year. It was a bad year for a lot of people, and hopefully that, you know, it gets better for a lot of those people. What got you interested in doing reviews on YouTube? I was a blogger, and I was posting videos. Videos. I was posting written reviews on a blog, and those were getting the most traction. I created a video to embed for SEO purposes, and my videos blew up. That's pretty much it. I was never really trying to be a YouTuber. Oh, I did try. This is not my first YouTube channel. I had a channel years ago where I'd walk around casinos with like a hidden camera, because back then they'd throw you out. You know, nowadays they don't stop cameras, but back then I'd walk around with a hidden camera around all the casinos and show what they look like. I had one that was called that's called Vegas Bathrooms, where I was showing the bathrooms of all the expensive casinos. That didn't go too well either. Eric Hawk, thank you for that, and Happy New Year to you as well. Is everybody here staying home tonight? Am I alone in that, or are you guys going out after this, or is everybody kind of in for the night? JC Klein is here. That's Bolt's. What superpower would you choose? I gotta stop spinning this chair around. I keep knocking my mic over. JC wants to know what superpower I would choose. I would choose invisibility. That would be the coolest one, because you could sneak around and people watch, and nobody would know you're watching. Of course, that sounds kind of creepy, but that's not what I meant. But it looks like a lot of people are staying home tonight. Someone's asking about the Bartesian again. Is Circus down at the Strip still in business? The Circus is kind of a dump. I'm just going to say it. That's right. Yeah, they had, I don't know about now. I haven't been there for years, but I love the Adventure Dome. The Adventure Dome is cool, and then they have the Midway Arcade. That's cool. But the rooms, not so good, man. It's like if you want to smell like cigarettes, you know, I used to have in-laws come to town, and they'd stay there at the Manor because they could smoke there. And it was smelled awful. There were bugs. It was not good. I don't know how it is nowadays. That was many, many years ago. But I'm just guessing that it's not better. Yeah, Gary says that the Circus has been a dump for at least 15 years. It's been called that for longer than that. I think it was called a dump 30 years ago. And you wonder, I mean, but I love that. I hope that if they do sell it, they don't get rid of the Adventure Dome, because that was such a great alternative to Disneyland when my kids were little. I took my kids to Disneyland in 2002, and I was so miserable there. We went on 12 rides in 13 hours, most of them staying along like an hour-long line. And the food was outrageous, and the prices were outrageous. And I remember thinking to myself, you know, why am I doing here? I took my kids to the Adventure Dome. They went on a lot of the same rides, kiddie rides, no wait, air conditioned, 20 minutes from home, cheap food. Like, why would I ever go to Disneyland again? And I never did. I never took them back there. Now, Disney World, that's a different story. There's a big difference between Disneyland and Disney World. And Disney World I haven't been to since I was a little kid. Oh, Christopher, I think it says Christopher. Thank you. It says, do more car gadgets. It's about time for another car gadget video now that I think about it. It's been a while. I used to do like one a year. I got to do one in 2026, right? Thank you, Commander Kane. Oh, I can see better on this screen. What's the most expensive product? Right there, the purple mattress. That was like, it was like several $1,000s. Outside of that one, it was the what was that called? I don't remember the name of it. That one oven that you cooked with light. The name is escaping me right now. What's my first product review of 2026? I'm doing a collection of lighted items. That's the only theme between them. There's a sunrise clock. There's some lighted butterflies. There's a nightlight, and there's an emergency flashlight. That's gonna be my first product review of 2026. Not that exciting. It's not like I'm ushering the year in on a high note. It's kind of an average video. Brava oven. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Brandon. The Brava oven. That was $1,800, I think. And that was, you know what's funny is I reviewed the Brava and the Tovala, and there was a third one that I was going to review, and I ordered that third one, and took 12 weeks to arrive. And from the time I ordered it to the time it arrived, they had to release another version, and I said to myself, I don't want to review an old version, so I called them up, and they said, you have to. They wouldn't give me a refund. They wanted me to pay for the other one. I'm like, I'm trying to review your product, and you just came out another one, and I ordered it before they came out. Get out of here. So not only did I not review it, but I don't even mention their name because they're not worthy of my time. So get out of here. So let me see what else we got here. Have I been to Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum? I don't think that doesn't sound familiar. I don't think I have, but it's a cool name though. Saw one of your worst was this person said that they got one of the solar fans from that was on my worst of 2025 list. I think the reason that I picked it as a worst, there's something kind of funny about that hat. It is kind of loud. It's not bad when you charge it up, but the fact that those solar panels don't need to be there because they don't really work that well. So, I mean, I think the fact that their main feature was solar panels that didn't work was the reason I made that list. The fan itself kind of works. Thank you. This person says, as a fellow Baldy, have you ever reviewed a head shaver? You know what? I have years ago. I got one of those, the ones that you hold like flat in your hand like this. Skull shaver? One of those. And I did it a few times, and it literally like made scalloped potatoes out of my scalp, man. It took skin right off because I got kind of a bumpy head, and I was like, "Forget this, man. I ain't doing this." I'd rather shave in the shower. I like shaving in the shower. I can shave my head in about 2 minutes or less. Brad Ass TV has joined the chat. He is here. Where have you been, Brad Ass TV? You're the one that asked the most questions of my Q&As anyway, so you should be here. Freakin Brandon he's responding to someone. Okay. J Thompson 8730. My kids love watching your videos. Well, tell your kids I said hello, and I think that they have good taste. No, I'm just kidding. Now, tell your kids I said thank you very much. I appreciate that. I have like 2 different versions of the chat here, so I'm not sure which one is the best to look at. Let me see. Oh, Clay wants to know, my granite stone pan from 2019 still works perfectly. I asked you 2 years ago about yours. Now, there's the granite. I did the granite stone, the square one, like, what was that, 2017, 2018? Then I did the round, the pro one. The square one, eventually, the coating wore off, and I stopped using it. The Granite Stone Pro, I still use. It's still in my rotation. That one, the Emerald pan. Now, the Emerald pan I destroyed, but they honored their warranty, and I got another one. So I had the Granite Stone Pro, the Emerald, and the Hexclad. Those kind of my rotation of the 3 pans, my most common pans. So maybe you could borrow Bailey's hair. You know, someone said maybe I could borrow Bailey's hair. They're very funny. I have a bag of Bailey's hair in my closet. Whenever I brush her, I save, not every time, but I save her hair in a bag. And so, you know, one of these days when she's not here anymore, I might make a pillow out of her or something, you know, but that's not a very happy thought, though. Alec 8855. wanted to say thanks for all the great content. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a happy new year. Brandon's I'm here talking about Hawaii to people. Brandon, you're talking about Hawaii in the chat. We haven't been to Hawaii in several years, so I haven't really been traveling. I've kind of last couple of years I've kind of lost that travel bug, so I haven't been traveling much. I'd like to stay here with my dogs. So let me see what else we got here. I saw based off YouTube data, where do most of your viewers watch from, and vice versa? Most of my viewers are from the U.S. I think it goes U.S., U.K., Australia. No, I'm sorry, U.S., Canada, U.K., Australia. No offense, Canada. I didn't mean to forget about you, but it's 80% men and 20% women. So that's and the age range is 25 to 35. So the average viewer for my channel is a 30-year-old man from the U.S. Mark, thank you very much. Happy New Year, and to you and Sally. Do I ever regret testing a product? You know, I don't know if I ever regretted testing a product, but there's been times where the word regret might apply. There's one product that I'm not going to mention, but I didn't give it a great review, and the inventor was really upset, and I kind of felt bad, but I got to give it an honest review. And then there was another product years ago that, looking back, I don't think it worked properly. I think I got kind of a dud, and I gave it a bad review because I got a product that wasn't functioning properly. Those are the only two out of 2,000 products. I think that's a pretty good average. More cooking shows for 2026. You know, I really enjoyed making those cookies on my Freakin' 2 channel. That was fun to me because it was different. I'm not much of a cooking person, but I feel like sometimes people want to see a non-chef make things. Someone who's not perfect in the kitchen. You know, have you ever watched these cooking shows and the person is like excellent at everything? You're like, I can't do that. I would never even know to do that. So sometimes I think you know, people might want to see an average person and making stuff, and even if it's not perfect, even if it's not right. So I'm a 58-year-old woman that's been watching for 10 years. So thanks for sticking with me that long. I'm almost at 10 years, and I'm almost 58 too. So there you go. More gadgets, less technique. I'm not sure if that's regarding my cooking idea or in my reviews, but I'll take that in consideration. If you had to hear one song on replay but covered version by a different person, what song would you pick, and who would you have cover it? Talk about being on the spot, man. That's a weird question, but I'm going to answer. I'm going to say Shaka Khan's Ain't Nobody by Tesseract. How about that? Daniel Tompkins from Tesseract did do a cover of that, but I'd like to hear Tesseract do that. How about that? Let me see. How far down are you from Nellis? Nellis. I'm not near Nellis. Nellis is not. I'm on the south side. This person wants to know if I was going to do a robot vacuum. You know, I think I've told this story before, but I did start a robot vacuum video once years ago, and I got pretty far into it, and then it stopped working, and I contacted the company. I paid for it, and they sent me another one, and it did the same thing. So this was around CES time. So they sent one of their techs over during CES, and he came over here, and it was plugged up with Bailey's hair. He even took some of Bailey's hair back to their lab with him to see if they could figure it out. Never heard back from him. So I just scrapped the idea. So I don't think the robot vac is good with Bailey here. Oh, thank you, CRSNSGGS. What would be my dream supergroup? That's a tough one. I'd love to hear Geddy Lee on bass and Danny Carey from Tool on drums together. That'd be incredible. And as far as vocals goes, Chris Cornell's gone. That would have been my first choice, but I don't know. Maybe Daniel Tompkins from Tesseract, and then on guitar there's Will Swan from Dance Gavin Dance. There you go. That'd be a weird combination. Let me see. I got some more here. Bailey's hair is too powerful. Bailey's hair, it broke. It prevented me from doing that robot vacuum video. And, you know, I brush her pretty regularly, and it never stops. Well, Freakin Brandon, I was answering on people who are alive on my supergroup answer. If they could be deceased, that might change things a little bit. I'd probably put Cornell in there, but I thought it was alive, a live supergroup. I do think that Danny Carey and Neil Peart are on the same level. I think that I think Danny probably would say Neil was one of the greatest ever. Neil, I think, said Buddy Rich was the greatest drummer ever. Buddy Rich was kind of a trip. He was not really the nicest guy in the world, but he was an incredible drummer for his style. I don't think Buddy Rich could do what Neil Peart did, because it was a completely different style. But Buddy was the greatest at what he did. Secretly Famous 5, Happy New Year from Canada and Happy New Year from Las Vegas, where it's currently 51 degrees, it went up a degree, and still raining outside. Bailey will turn 11 years old on January 30th, 2026. So she's almost 11 years old. And, you know, she's definitely aging. You know, I mean, she's getting up there. She still has her moments, though. But I knew last week when she didn't even want to eat food, because she's very food motivated, there was something wrong. I had to take her to the vet, and she's kind of still recovering from that. Let's see what else we got here. You know, I have a bag of, like I said earlier, I have a bag of Bailey's hair. Maybe I should send it back to the vacuum. Maybe I should sell it to the vacuum maker so they can make sure they can beat Bailey's hair. Do I like cats as well? You know, I like cats, but they don't like me. You know, like there's something about me, the way I am. Like I like big dogs. I can like wrestle and like, you know, we can like manhandle each other and like have a lot of fun. Cats don't like that. They don't like the way I touch them. They don't like me. They glare at me like I'm terrible. So I like cats, but from afar. You know, I've never really had a lot of luck with cats. Happy New Year from Wisconsin. This, I have kind of a connection to Wisconsin. I worked for a company in Stevens Point, Wisconsin for 20 years. I worked remotely for them, but I still have friends out there in Stevens Point. So I don't know if that's near where you're at, but I do have connections to Wisconsin. I used to be on the phone to people in Wisconsin every single day. Do I still like the belt that I reviewed? I've reviewed a lot of belts. Which one am I wearing? I'm not wearing a belt, but I usually wear the Trackline belt. That's the one that I like the most. This person wants to know if I watch other YouTube reviewers like Mr. Who's the Boss. I have watched him. The quality of his videos are extremely good. I mean, it's a whole other level from where I'm at. But, it's kind of like, I don't really watch reviews anymore because it feels like work to me. You know, like when I used to work in sports, and I used to be a huge sports fan, but when sports became my job, I kind of stopped watching it. It just felt like work, so I don't really watch that many reviewers anymore. A lot of them are gone. You know, like when I came in the 2016. There was a whole like kind of class of reviewers that came around back then. A lot of them are gone, or they've transitioned to other things. Rick Smythe says you went to college in Stevens Point. So you probably know where Polito's Pizza's at. If you are in Stevens Point, I'm very good friends with the owner of Polito's Pizza in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. So if you go in there, tell him that I said hi, because I've known him for almost 30 years. In fact, I can tell you the day I met him, February 12th, 1996. So if you're in Stevens Point, hit Polito's Pizza and tell him I said hi. The one, let me just hold on a second. Have I thought about doing more collaboration videos? You know, collaboration videos are kind of hit or miss, because if I kind of make room for someone in a video, it never feels that natural. So sometimes, like when I did the exoskeleton chair, for example, I needed a short person. JC Klein was perfect, 5'2". I got a short person. So JC, I'm not saying that in a bad way. You know that shortness is a good thing in my eyes. And in fact, JC wants to know if I had to choose between hockey or football, which would I choose? Up until about 7 years ago, I would have said football, but now I'd say hockey. Gary says there's another bald reviewer. He's talking about himself. So if you want to check out another bald reviewer, check out Gary's channel, Unbox Analysis. How is product quality today compared to 10 years ago? Well, 10 years ago, I did exclusively as seen on TV products. That's all I did. In fact, in my first best of the year, I think I excluded products because they weren't as seen on TV products. That's how focused I was on them. And those products are usually pretty bad quality. You know, like you could tell. There's products that were as seen on TV products that were literally the same thing you can get on Temu for a couple bucks. I mean, they were the same thing. So the quality was never been that good. So I think when you buy these individual products from certain companies, the quality can be hit or miss. I don't know if you guys watch Shark Tank. Here's something. Tell me if you guys think about this or not. I'm watching Shark Tank. I'm making up like a generic example, and they'll talk about how much does it cost you and how much do you sell it for. And sometimes I'm like, you guys are marking this things up a lot. Like they're like, oh, it costs us 48 cents to make and we sell it for $94. I'm like, I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to buy it if you're marking up that much. There's been times I've not wanted to buy a product just seeing how much they mark it up. Get out of here with those markups. In fact, Shark Tank, I think that Brandon and I have talked about doing the next one of those. Those are a big pain because it takes so long to plan them out. And I have to have 3 cameras and all this video. We will spend like hours filming. It's just they're fun to do, but I feel like I need a vacation after doing a Shark Tank video. Someone, I'm sure this is directed at me or not, but someone says bald is both less maintenance and more maintenance than a full head of hair. Well, I can shave my head in probably less than 2 minutes in the shower, and I just use my hand to go along it when I'm shaving it. And having hair, you have bad hair days. When you wake up in the morning, it's like it's all sticking in different directions. You have to trim your bangs. I don't think I would go back. To me, being bald is less maintenance, although it's not maintenance free. The other thing is when you're bald, like when you have hair, the oils on your head go into your hair. That's how people get greasy hair. But when you're bald, it just sits there. So sometimes people touch your head, it feels kind of greasy. So that's just the way it is. It doesn't mean you're dirty. It's just that's your head, your oils in your head. See, Chad's saying the bad beard days are worse. My beard's not that long. Like Chad's is down here. Chad's got like the Santa Claus beard. That I can't even imagine taking care of something like that. As a 16-year-old, James, what did you want to be? I wanted to be a rock star. 16 years old? Oh man, I was already playing clubs in LA. I play like the same places that all the bands that Motley Crue and Quiet Riot and those are playing. I was playing the Troubadour. I was playing Gazzarri's. All those places up in LA. I wanted to be a rock star. That's all I wanted to be at 16 years old. And I guess on a local level, I kind of was, but it didn't last very long. I was like a no-hit wonder. Rewatching live from the start. Happy New Year's. Thank you, and I hope you have a great 2026 as well. I've showed some of those old pictures of myself back in those days. What do I think of guitarist Eric Johnson? I think that he very influential, sometimes lost in the conversation, unfortunately, but I think his influence is far more than a lot of people realize. This person says, "Found your channel this year. I'm so thankful. I'm happy to be a happy distraction to you and others because I get messages like that sometimes. People going through like hard times or whatever, and they say that my channel kind of gives them something to take their mind off of things. That's why I don't talk about politics. I'll never talk about. You won't get it out of me. You will never get politics out of me. It won't happen. I will not talk about politics because there has to be a place in the world where you're not talking about it, about bad things. It has to be. Can we just not talk about it sometimes? So I try to just give people a distraction from all the other stuff in the real world that they're thinking about. So you won't get it out of me. I'll never talk about it. There. My Chihuahua's in here. There she goes. She came out from underneath her blankets on the bed. My Chihuahua turned 17 years old. This person says my cheese videos were a collab and they did well. You're talking about the cheese chopper. That's a Shark Tank product. That was kind of a fluke because a lot of times I message people and they don't want to do it, but I really enjoyed that video. I think having that cheese expert in there to give an opinion on that added some value to the video. I can't always do that. It's not always practical. I don't always have time, but it was nice to do it for that one. Was dealing with a hard time in my career when I started watching last year, and I marathoned this channel all throughout December. This channel was a lifesaver, and I appreciate all you do. I appreciate that very much, more than you know. Long after I'm retired from YouTube, those kind of messages will always stick with me because it's nice to know that I could just offer a distraction from the perils of the world to people when things are difficult. Jack Frost 3910, a very important question. He wants to know if I prefer Sammy Hagar or David Lee Roth. And that's a nuanced question in my opinion. And after that, I'm going to answer the question about Gene Simmons. I prefer the Van Halen music from the David Lee Roth era. Up until, and I saw them in '83. They were terrible. They were at the US Festival. David Lee Roth was drunk. But I don't really listen. I honestly don't even really like the Hagar era of Van Halen that much. It was a bit commercial for me. But on the other hand, I think that Sammy Hagar has a far better singing voice. And if I had to be stuck on a desert island with them, I would pick Sammy any day. I love Sammy Hagar. I didn't connect with that era of Van Halen that much. And someone asked what I think about Gene Simmons. I think Gene Simmons got kind of a soft side. I think that he comes off as he even has an album called A blank 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 hole. Like he calls himself that. But I think he's got a softer side that's starting to show a little bit more nowadays. I don't think he has a great singing voice, but I think for some of that early Kiss stuff, it actually kind of worked. He was kind of this like spidery demon guy. It kind of worked. Not a great singer, but an appropriate singer for that genre. Will Brandon take over your channel when you retire? I don't think so. I don't think Brandon wants to do this. I don't think product reviews are in Brandon's future. But he does help me with my channel in some respects, but I don't think he's going to take it over. Have I seen Project Farm? Yeah, I'm quite familiar with Project Farm. He I always used to say that I was like in between Crazy Russian Hacker and Project Farm. Like Project Farm is very like, let's take 17 of these items and see which comes out the best. And Crazy Russian Hacker was like, let me tear open this box and just kind of use it without using instructions. So I always kind of figured I was like somewhere in between there, like I'm in between those two guys. I've had videos that are kind of more on one side than the other, but my Chihuahua has to go outside. Luckily my door is right there. You should do a video with Barry Lewis. I gotta tell you, I'm a fan of Barry Lewis. Now bolts up. Uh-oh. There he is. I really like Barry Lewis a lot. In fact, I think that Barry Lewis is probably just vibe-wise the closest to what I do. He's like the British me, I really enjoy his channel a lot. They're not quite reviews. He does a lot of cooking, but I would love to do if I ever get over there. If I ever get over to England, I'm gonna try to see if I can find him. Or if he ever gets to Vegas, he should look me up. If you guys don't know Barry Lewis, you should watch him. I think if you watch my channel, you would definitely like his. What are my top 3 movies of all time? Well, I'm gonna say the one movie that I watched back to back, which I've never done before. And it's a long movie, was Inception. I saw it in the theater twice, and then I got the DVD and watched it twice in a row, and I've watched it several times since then. I mean, maybe technically it's not the best movie in the world, but I love the idea of it so much. It's a good cast, and someone who dreams a lot and has dreams within dreams. The idea of it blew me away. I could never watch enough Back to the Future 1 or 2. 3 is good, but not as good as the first two. I could watch Back to the Future like all the time. Like I go on those videos deep diving down Back to the Future. There's like no amount of Back to the Future that's enough for me. And as far as the third one goes, that's a tough choice. Like I don't know, there's a lot of them that could be up there. I do like Quentin Tarantino movies though, so I also like Christopher Nolan movies. I'd probably fill in one of those because I don't know what the third one would be. Speaking of movies, in 2028 they're doing 4 Beatles movies on the same day. They're going to have a movie about each guy coming out on the same day. Tell me that's not unusual. And the same cast in all 4 movies. So there are going to be times where I guess the movies intersect. That's going to be interesting. Rebecca says, I swear you and my husband are practically the same person. He agrees with so many of your vlog rants. Your husband must be a Gen Xer, right? I'm assuming. I saw Back to the Future in the theaters. Yes, I did, in 1985. I still remember that first scene where they had that giant speaker. Me and my friends all laughed out loud. So, like, I remember seeing it in the theaters. In my opinion of 2001: A Space Odyssey, great movie. The ending confused me for a long time until the internet came around and I had to look it up. And one time I did watch 2001 and 2010 back to back, which is kind of a cool thing to do. Someone's saying Paul is not dead. I don't buy that for a second. I think it's 2028. I don't think it's 2026. I think they just started filming those. Oh, someone asked who that was. That was Bolt. I don't know where Bolt is. Bolt's here, Elle is here, and Bailey's still sleeping. That's Elle back there on my. I have a pile of blankets Elle sleeps underneath. So in Brazil, you're 3 minutes. Is it 3 minutes for the New Year here? So happy New Year to you. Happy 2026 in Brazil. Do you think the site Wish is dying? I think the site Wish is dead. I mean, well, not technically, but it's been pretty dead for a long time. In fact, I think in one of my videos where I talked about why Wish was so, it was like Temu just kind of stole all of their thunder. I mean, Wish was really slow. You know, like it had a lot of the same problems as Temu, but it was a slower, and their interface was terrible. You couldn't really sort very well. You couldn't pick certain colors. So Temu just made a better version of Wish, and Wish is just, I don't know anybody that uses Wish anymore. Pepsi or Coke? I've been a pretty devoted Coke fan most of my life, although I will say that when it comes to the 0-calorie sodas, Pepsi Zero is a solid contender. I do like it quite a bit. So, you know, I'm not so tribal that I can't drink one or the other. And cherry Pepsi's pretty good too. But I can't drink sugar. I can't drink non-diet soda because it just kills my stomach. I've got something going on down there. This person, he says his kids wants me to do more hot dog videos. You mean more like hot dog gadgets? I will. Someone just made me laugh. If you can come up with some suggestions for hot dog gadgets, I'll do it because that video was pretty popular. But I haven't found a new batch of hot dog gadgets. Someone said that new Coke was better than the old Coke, which I thought that was kind of funny. I don't think most people would agree with you on that. Although I used to drink it, I didn't really mind it. What do I think my number one gadget of the year is? Well, I've already stated that one. For 2026, who knows? I've only got 4 gadgets so far picked out. Chad, my cousin Chad says our uncle would disagree about the Pepsi Coke debate. I know I know which uncle you're talking about. He was a big Pepsi drinker, and when I went into his house, I never complained. All that was available was Pepsi, and I drank it. You know what's funny is like I think isn't Dr. Pepper's been around? Hasn't that been around longer than Pepsi and Coke? I think. It's kind of like Oreo was a knockoff of Hydrox, but that's a terrible name for a cookie. Hydrox sounds like a bunch of chemicals in there. But anybody, do you believe Yoko Ono broke up the Beatles? I think that Yoko Ono hastened the breakup of the Beatles, but I think it was going to happen anyways. You had like, you know, they were all wanting to do their own thing anyway. So I think it was going to happen, but maybe they would have. You know what's funny is when John Lennon went on his Lost Weekend, when he was with May Pang, who was another woman he was with for like a year or so, he was starting to like reconnect with Julian. He was starting to talk to Paul more, and he got back to Yono and then blew them all off again. So I don't know, maybe they wouldn't have broke up. I don't know. Yoko Ono was the best Beatle. Last year I listened to the entire Beatles discography and every solo album by every Beatle. That was a task. And there was those John Lennon albums where Yoko's just screeching in the background. It's like, this is terrible. Isn't there like a Merv Griffin video where Yoko's and Chuck Berry is Chuck Barris? No, Chuck. I watched the Gong Show recently. It was Chuck Barris. Chuck Berry and Yoko Ono and John Lennon were on the same stage together, and that was a disaster. They still make Hydrox. You know, I've been looking. I've never tasted it before. I've looked for it, but every time I try to find it, I can't. So I would love to compare Hydrox and Oreo, but I've never tried it before. Yeah, someone said, you know, the Gong Show is an example. There were so many weird shows back in the day that like younger people, like my kids and younger. My kids are like in their 20s. I think they would trip out on. You know, like. If you've ever seen the original, like Richard Dawson Family Feud, he used to kiss every female contestant right on the lips, right in front of their husbands. He would kiss every female contestant on the lips. Like, how was that okay? How was that ever okay? It seemed weird to me as a kid, but they did it. They did it. And like they had the Gong Show, which was this weird, like it was like some talent show, but sometimes it was not real and sometimes it was. Did I say family? I said family. Did I say Family Feud? Maybe I didn't say Family Feud, but yeah, the Gong Show was a bizarre show, man. And you know, like I think what did they win? Like they won like $28 or something like that. It was such a weird show. And Richard Dawson, you know what's funny? Richard Dawson met his wife kissing her on the lips as a contestant. He was going on the line with the contestants, and he kissed her on the lips, and later on he asked her out, and they got married. So maybe it worked out for him. Maybe kissing thousands of women on the lips, he finally found the right one. Jolly Reviews 3 wants to know who my favorite wrestlers were. You know, I'm not a big wrestling fan, but I will say that when I was a kid, I sat in the front row for an NWA match, and Mr. Wrestling number 2 slid right underneath my mom's chair, and I patted him on the back, and that was a big thrill for me. Mr. Wrestling number 2. Happy New Year, Melbourne, Australia. You guys have been New Year for several hours now, right? 12 hours? Sanford and Son. Oh man, that's another. You know what? Watch all the family clips. Watch Sanford and Son clips. Watch Jefferson's clips. You want to see some stuff. They can't say that stuff nowadays. They can't say it. People weren't so sensitive back then. You know, like that. Those shows are still funny, and they could never be made now. So, someone's laughing at Mr. Wrestling number 2. Yeah, Bolt is the same size as Bailey now, but he weighs half as much. About the hot dog videos, it'd be easiest if you went in Discord and messaged me there or sent me a message, because I'm not going to be able to see it here. Okay, what else we got? What are my favorite obscure 80s TV shows? There was one called Mr. Belvedere, which was kind of a funny show. That was they don't show that anymore, I don't think. There was another one. Oh, what was it called? There was a show that had the neighbor from Married with Children, Steve, when he was younger, and either Kirk Cameron or the other guy confused with Kirk Cameron. It was like, and they were neighbors, and they were. Someone will help me out. It was Steve from Married with Children was one guy, and then it was either Kirk Cameron or the other guy. What was it called? Someone has to tell me what that is. Jason Bateman, thank you. Jason Bateman. It's Your Move. Thank you. It's Your Move. That was the show. That was a really obscure one. I used to love that show. You know the best obscure 80s TV show, without question, probably the most influential obscure, was the New Adventures of Mighty Mouse. It was a bizarre cartoon, and it influenced Ren and Stimpy and all those 90s cartoons. I don't even know if I don't think they show it anywhere. It was pretty controversial, but the New Adventures of Mighty Mouse was for that time, it was out there. I used to love that show. Is that the actual Unbox Analysis YouTube account? I think that is. That's him. Discord is how do I explain what Discord is? I'll send you a link. You can try to go in there. So click on that link and you can get in Discord. Yeah, I wasn't expecting. Oh, it's raining outside. My door is open. I hear it raining. I feel bad for those revelers. Do you ever use the word reveler for anything but New Year's? Like they always say, oh, the revelers are down there for New Year's. I never use the word reveler. Like I think it's only used for one day a year, and that's on New Year's Eve. Because I don't think you ever call yourself a reveler for anything else. Am I going to review the Ninja Never Dull knife system? I'm not sure I know what that is. I know the Ninja Foodie Never Stick, but Never Dull knife. Knives are kind of hard to review though, because it's like there's so many variables and like everything you cut is different. So I don't. I'll look into it. In fact, I'm going to jot it down right now. Ninja Never Dull. By the way, the reason I chose tonight for my last Q&A on this channel is because I'm not doing anything for New Year's. And I figured there's probably other people out there who aren't doing anything for New Year's, so we could just do nothing for New Year's together. So I think it's kind of working out. And I'm glad everybody is here joining me with for this kind of very informal. I'm just chatting. I'm not doing anything. I tune in these other live streams, and they have these big elaborate productions. Not me. I have nothing. I have one camera. That's it. And I got Bolt chewing on a bone over there, and I got Bailey sleeping next to me. That's it. No elaborate production. You just saw an ad in the middle of a live stream. I didn't set that up. I don't even know how that works. So I haven't live streamed in 3 years. I just left all the settings default. So if there's ads showing, I didn't do that. I'm not responsible. I mean, I guess I am responsible because this is my live stream. But I mean, I didn't do anything. So maybe Gary live streams. Gary, you tell me what's going on here. Someone wants to know if I rip open trading cards for fun. I mean, I have a. You know what's funny is I collected baseball cards in the 70s, and then I started collecting them again in the late 80s. And all those cards from the late 80s are absolutely worthless now. They're zero value, like nothing. Nobody wants them. Someone's just floating around here. There's those baseball cards that I collected in the late 80s, early 90s have no value whatsoever. I collected a bunch of comic books in the 80s. They're worthless as well. I had a stamp collection. That's worthless too. So my lesson here is like collections usually aren't that collectible, especially if something says on the packaging it's collectible. It ain't collectible because everybody's collecting it. In fact, speaking of, it says nobody mails anything to need a stamp. I'm talking about like I used to have here's Argentina stamps from 1948 or something like that. It's collect like that kind of stuff. In the 70s, that was cool, but nobody really collects those anymore. There's no value to them. I think I'm going to take my U.S. ones and just stick them on envelopes from now on. You can send me any ideas you want on Discord if you want. That's where I'm going to be. I mean, if any of you ever have any questions, that's the place to ask them. I'm in there most days, and I will answer you right away. And if you want me to answer you publicly, I'll be vlogging on Freakin' too, and I can answer there. And it's cold outside. Are my dogs all in? I think the dogs are all in. That's a cold breeze. I know it's not as cold as you are, Brandon, but it is cold for me. The 70s baseball cards are valuable. Yes, I didn't mean to imply that. The 80s and 90s cards are worthless. Yes, I know it's wind chill is like in the 40s. I know it's not that cold compared to most places, but I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt and the door was open. It was blowing at me. You know, Brand said we'll get some Pokemon cards next week. I don't think that Pokemon cards you can't find anymore. Like they're as soon as they come out, they get bought. Answer one question. I do live in an HOA, but fortunately, it's not one of those draconian HOAs. It's relatively inexpensive. It's like $200 a year. It's just enough to keep everybody from letting their houses go to waste. But and then this was the warmest December on record. The first half of December was all in the 70s. It was amazing. To answer that question, and then let me see. Yu-Gi-Oh cards. You know, I actually briefly got into Yu-Gi-Oh the game, but you know nobody wanted to play with me, so I didn't keep playing it. Is it time? Someone says howdy from Kentucky. You know, I haven't. The last time I was in Kentucky, I was a little kid driving through there, and I haven't been in Kentucky since the 70s. I can't imagine what Kentucky even looks like now. So, someone says, can we see more Vegas-centric stuff? Yes, I'm going to be vlogging on Freakin 2, and I'm going to be going out and about. In fact, Gary, Unbox Analysis Official, is going to be in town next week, and he and I and JC Klein are going to be in some videos for that as well. So we're going to be out and about doing some cool stuff. So look forward to that. I have Tyler from Ohio. It's 60 degrees one day and 15 the next. See, I couldn't do that, man. It's like I don't know how people live in that kind of climate. Like I get sick because I don't have that kind of tolerance. Have I thought of testing other soda makers such as the soda? You know, there's that new Circle one I keep wanting to try, and I haven't pulled the trigger on that one yet. It's kind of like a Soda Stream alternative, I guess. I've been wanting to try that one, but I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. I probably should. Maybe I'll do that soon because it's relatively new, and I've had a lot of people ask about it. Where do I want to go in America? You know, there's a lot of states I haven't been to. I want to go visit Maine and see Brandon. I haven't been to Maine before, and Brandon tells me I need to go visit him, so I need to do that. Has anybody told me I look like John Moxley? I have heard that before. Let me remind myself what he looks like. Yeah, I've heard I look like him, but if he didn't go to the gym, that's what I look like. So I have heard that before. You know what's funny? When I was a teenager, I looked just like Peter Frampton. I mean, I was a spitting image of Peter Frampton when I was a teenager. I don't look like Peter Frampton now. And Peter Frampton doesn't look like Peter Frampton now. But you know, then who else did I get? I got I think I guess to get Billy Ray Cyrus in the 90s when I got Billy Ray Cyrus for a while. That wasn't good. And then I got Michael Bolton. I was Michael Bolton. I went from Peter Frampton to Michael Bolton. That's my lookalikes. And then I was the guy from the Jamie from MythBusters. So I've followed all these celebrities throughout my life. And none of them look alike though. So how do I look like all these guys? Any more Vegas hotel reviews? Maybe. I mean, I'm going to be experimenting with some different vlogging formats. Leif Garrett. Oh, I got Leif Garrett too. I was going to make sure that wasn't my brother because he used to call me Leif Garrett when I was a kid. I wasn't the nerdy Michael Bolton from Office Space. I was the cheesy singer Michael Bolton. I don't have tattoos. My cousin Chad does, though. He can talk about tattoos all day long, but I don't have any. Mr. Clean. You know what's funny? Somewhere I have a picture of me posing like Mr. Clean. I had very little facial hair and I had earrings and I had a white t-shirt on. So I could pull off the Mr. Clean thing. You know, one year I did a really good a Breaking Bad Halloween costume. I was Walter White. That one I rocked. I did that one pretty good. Do more. Yeah, I had blonde. I had long blonde, curly, permed hair because my hair was curly, but I wanted to make it look more uniform. I also looked like the bass player Def Leppard back then too. So good times. Am I going to review the newest Bedjet? I probably not. No. Interesting story about Bedjet. They contacted me and asked me if I wanted to review it, and I just said, nah, I don't think so. But I actually had to recently tell them to stop using my clips in their ads. Now, I originally told them 3 years ago that they could use them for a few months. And then 3 years later, I'm like, all right, your few months is up. Like, I like your product, but I don't want to be, people think I'm a spokesman. I don't want to be in anybody's ads. Even if I like the product, I don't want to be, unless I have some sort of an arrangement, but just to use my clips in your ads, nah, that's a no. So I had to recently tell them to stop doing that. Frank, are you shooting with a camera or a phone? I'm not sure who Frank is, but this is it's a webcam, really. It's not a phone. The first live stream I ever did, I think it was in 2018. I used my phone in the garage in August, and it overheated, so that live stream got interrupted. I've had people. That's not the first person that's called me Frank. I've been called Frank before. I don't know why. What's the biggest thing you want to review? I don't remember. I have a spreadsheet that I keep, and I can't think of anything really big. I mean, there's a lot of things I would love to review, but they just aren't practical. Someone wants to know how the Boneyard is going. The Boneyard, I've been thinning out. I have gotten rid of probably a third of the Boneyard. Mostly just donating it or giving away, even throwing a few things away that didn't even seem worth donating. So Boneyard's getting thinned out. I got no room. I don't have the Boneyards. All my stuff is just, this place is a mess. I've got to clean this up. From Australia. Thank you for that, Australia, Norman in Australia, and hopefully I can get back there one of these days. I loved going down there for the 3 weeks I did a few years back. How do you, someone wants to know if I'd review a bidet. How do you review that? Do you show the toilet before and after? I don't know about that, man. I'm sure there's a way of doing it, but I don't think I would do it. Someone wants to know if I have a Honda Clarity. I do. I had some problems with that early on. But there was a fuse or something that was bad, so I broke down. That was my first vlog, my first member vlog, 2.5 years ago. But once I got the problems fixed, I actually quite enjoy that car. Brandon likes his Chevy Bolt. Volt? Is it Volt or Bolt? Brandon, is it a Volt or a Bolt? Now I say Bolt so much I don't know if that's your car, but. Brandon likes his plug-in hybrid as well. I like plug-in hybrids because you get good gas mileages. Volt, thank you, Brandon. But you're not stuck with the range anxiety of electric. So I'm a big plug-in hybrid fan. Someone says, "How about a charity sale?" At this point. I probably just, if anybody is in Vegas wants some free stuff, hook me up. Hit me up because I'm giving stuff away. I'm giving it away. I don't want any more stuff anymore. I'm just drowning in it. So at this point, I just want to get rid of it. I don't even want to profit off it. Someone wants to ask if I've watched Adam the Woo. I was familiar with him, but it's sad. But I didn't watch him a lot, but I was aware of him. Let me see. Tim the Wanderer, you're in Vegas. Are you down on the Strip? Because it's rainy and chilly down there. So I want to see what it's like if you are actually down on the Strip. I've done that before. I ain't doing it again. Well, anyways, guys, I think this is about it for me. I think this is is longer than I was going to plan on going anyways. So thank you for joining me for my last Q&A on this channel. But I will always be answering questions on Discord, and I'll be answering questions publicly on Freakin 2. Don't forget to subscribe to Freakin 2 because I got a new vlog in 2 days. I'm waking up tomorrow morning and I'm starting my vlogging again there. So if you liked my vlogs when I was posting them, you know, you would probably like what I'm doing there. In fact, I've got a link here for you. If you want to see all my vlogs from 2025, shameless promotion, there they are. Most of them were member videos, but they're all unlisted now, so you can just binge those if you want. There's 52 of them, and I plan on doing more than that in 2026. In fact, I'm hoping to do more F2 videos in 2026 than Freakin Reviews videos, because I'm doing 1 a week in Freakin Reviews, and who knows how many on Freakin 2. But thank you so much for everybody joining me here, and I hope you have a great 2026. And I appreciate you guys watching and sticking with me all this time, and I will see you in 2026. And I have to have this awkward pause while I wait for the stream to stop.